the lighting is good enough. From what I can tell, it's a very bright, sunny day here. And I've got a lot of light coming in the windows, but I also have my floor light on over top, and I've just moved it. So from what I can see in the camera, I think the lighting is pretty good. So we're going to go with it because I don't have time to record this video twice. So hopefully you all can see what I'm doing, but let's face it, we all know that you're much more interested in your own stitching while we visit here together today. So welcome. It's Friday. Once again, the week has rolled around and it's time for the weekend. Time to put some stitches in those works in progress. I, as you can tell, am working on my Modern Folk Embroidery Mystery Sampler Stitch Along, and oh, I am loving it. This was my February high tea start, and I was hoping to concentrate on this piece this weekend so that I could get some more accomplished before next weekend's new high tea start. It's been a busy month, you guys. March usually is. It's not a surprise. March is always a busy month because of the kids being off of school with March break. And we usually take a little bit of time off as well. So it has been a very busy week of catch up, playing catch up and getting all of our work done. And I am actually recording this on Friday. It's Friday early afternoon, and hope to get this up by 6 o'clock my time tonight. If all goes well, cross your fingers that the editing software goes as planned and we can get this loaded up in time for the stitch-in that happens on our Friday evenings. And frankly, let's face it, for all of those who can, it tends to last all weekend. I'm just loving the Facebook group. It's really, really fun. Just such a fun group of people and amazing stitchers. In case you haven't heard about it yet, I'll repeat it again. The Facebook group is Friday Off the Grid, and we'd love to have you join us over there and share what you're working on this weekend. And let's face it, all week long. Not everybody has a weekend that goes from Friday night to Sunday. So, Modern Folk Embroidery. The designer who is Modern Folk Embroidery is Jakob. And what is Jakob's last name? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh, I was not prepared. You know who I'm speaking about. If you're familiar with Modern Folk Embroidery, you've seen his name on Instagram and on his designs. I mentioned a while ago during a Monday FlossTube update that we had emailed a few times back and forth, and he'd asked what material I was going to use. I'm like materials that I was going to use to stitch this. And so I had told him about the silk, or maybe, no, I'm sorry. He'd watched the episode and he'd watched me talk about it, what I was going to be using. And he messaged me and said, you know, I've kind of, you know, because he's the pattern designer, he's done the math. And he says, I'm a little concerned that you're going to run short of thread. And that would really, really be a shame since you're using thread that is discontinued and not made anymore. So it was a gentle way of saying, you know, hey, you showed us some other matching lighter colored silk there. Maybe you should consider also adding that in. And the next episode, I discussed that and I said that was what I was indeed going to do. Then I received a message from a lady named Barbara from down in the States. And Barbara sent me a message and she said, I just happen to have some Zafra Cobalt in my stash. She, like me, is a Vicki Clayton big fan. And in fact, I think that she knows Vicki Clayton personally. So I think she had access to a very good source. Doesn't get much better than that, of Vicki's threads when Vicki was dyeing the silks. And so Barbara sorry about that, guys. One of those things. My son came home ill from school this afternoon. He has a terrible, terrible cold. And well, you all know you can't expect to have an uninterrupted hour of time when there's a 9-year-old in the house. So, problem sorted, and I am back to talking about Barbara and her shared love of Vicki Clayton silks. So Barbara messaged me and said, I have some Zafra Cobalt in my stash, and how about I send it to you? We were going to trade. We were going to do a little bit of a trade, and she sent it to me. You guys, she sent it to me, and it's perfect. It is absolutely perfect. Now, I am not going to tell you where I have used hers and I've used mine, because the silk that she had in her stash, and I mean, your jaw is just going to hit the floor when you see this. I had showed you, I have the, what is it? It has 150 yards, single strand. So mine's in the single strand. Nice and easy to use. Lovely. Barbara's thread is on a spool. It is 300 yards of 6 strand. I know, right? Look at that. Look at that. So when you hold the two together, now this light's pretty good. They actually look pretty identical, but in different lights, they looked a little bit different. Like the dye lot was just slightly different. And also the 6 strand seems a slightly looser twist than the single. But I'm going to tell you this, guys. I tried a length of Barbara's, and I have put it into my work along with my single strand. Can you tell where it is? Nope, you can't, because it blends in beautifully. So all this up here, including all of this and all of this and this and this secondary line down here, is my single strand. And I have 2 lengths of Barbara's floss right here, and this strand that I just did right down here. And it matches perfectly. It's perfect. It's perfect. So thanks to Barbara's extreme generosity, I am going to have enough of the Zafra Cobalt to do the entire design in one color. And I will not, because I wanted originally, when I wanted to do this piece, I wanted to do it in one color. So that makes me extremely happy. And Barbara, keep an eye on your mailbox in the next couple of weeks, because I think one good turn deserves another. So we'll see what I can come up with, and maybe I'll send you a little treat in the mail. Speaking of treats in the mail, I had another surprise in my mailbox this week, and it was, I don't even know how to begin to tell you all about it, other than you are really going to want to watch Monday's episode, because I'm going to share and show. I'll show it and share it on Monday. It's a pretty special one, you guys. So I think you're going to want to see that. It was a really good mail week this week. I had a great week all around. So other than my son being home sick today, everybody's healthy so far. Nicholas's cold is really very bad. So it's one of those colds where you're either going to get very lucky and manage to avoid it, or the whole house is going to come down with the plague. So we'll see. I've been trying to wipe down surfaces and, remind about sneezing in the elbow, washing hands, so on and so forth. So maybe we'll avoid it this time around. Who knows? I'm just going to jump around all over the place today while I'm stitching, because then I don't really have to use the pattern and I can just chat. So I mentioned on Monday the bittersweet news that my LNS Thread and I is closing down. And so, as you can imagine, I have been taking every opportunity to visit them and the store and perhaps make a few purchases before they close their doors and wander off into the glorious sunset of retirement. So I went in on Wednesday of this past week, and it was a prearranged visit because there was a fellow stitcher who was coming in from out of town who she was picking up some threads and she wanted to get together and meet. And also she had been messaging with Miss Patty as well. And so Miss Patty arranged to come in as well. So I met Missy from the Facebook group. And Missy and I had messaged before. We had talked a few times sort of on Messenger about various things. She had been to Thread and I before. I knew that she didn't live all that far away from me. So we arranged to meet. And what was really funny was that when I go to Thread and I usually like to take in some coffee, some Tim Hortons for Kathy and Neil, because they don't usually get a chance to leave the store during the day. And it's something that a lot of their customers do, is bring in coffee for them. I don't know if they always manage to get to drink all of the coffee that people brought for them. However, sometimes it's really the thought that counts. And anyways, I knew Missy was going to be there. I knew that Patty was going to be there. And so I brought coffee for everyone. And I walked in the shop and Kathy immediately started laughing and she said, I think you better go and look on the back table because I think we're all going to be floating in about half an hour. And sure enough, Missy had also brought in coffee for everyone. So it was a Tim Hortons bonanza in the stitching room. And everybody was a little bit hepped up on caffeine, which was never a problem in my books. But anyways, so meeting Missy and getting to chat for a few minutes was really fun. And it was a super, super, super meeting. And it was a lot of fun. We did some shopping and we did some chatting and hung out with Patty. And I look forward to doing it again. Super fun. I've been meeting a lot of new stitchers lately. All right. So in Monday's video, I showed at the very end, I shared a picture of our milk bag and milk jug. And can you believe it? I still am getting questions about it. It's so funny to me, you guys. So a few people have messaged and said, I still can't see it. I don't know how you put that in and, give it a good whack without the milk bag exploding all over the place. So on Monday, if I remember, I will try to give Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Have you guys just been yelling at me for the whole last 10 minutes? Seriously? Seriously. I bet you've all been wondering when I was going to clue in to what the heck I was doing. Honest to goodness. This is why stitching and talking isn't always a good idea. Look at what I did. Of course, you all know what I did, didn't you? You're all wondering what the heck I was doing. Okay. Well, I finally figured out what I was doing, so you can stop yelling at me on the screen now. I'm going to pause this video while I frog out everything that I just did, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, let's try this again. Oh my goodness. Okay, I have frogged out that section that I just stitched. That was incorrect. I didn't even notice, didn't even clue in one little bit. I was so distracted with my talking. Let's try this again. Let's try to get it right this time, shall we? Here we go. Honestly. Anyways, live and learn. Everybody has to frog now and then. Could have been worse. So I have decided that now that Jacob has all 3 months, the first 3 months released. And in fact, April, I think, is coming out next week. I am not going to stitch these one at a time. I'm probably going to print out the patterns as I go and, work my way across the top. Not worrying whether or not I've finished part 1 or not. Because I prefer to work from left to right and complete left to right. And it would be okay if I was actually doing this in the amount of time that other people are doing it once a month and completing the whole page in the month and then ready to move to the right with the next month. But because I'm not, I prefer to work my way across the top and then start to work my way down. I actually, oddly enough, many times prefer to start in the bottom left corner. And then I work my way across the bottom and then I go from bottom to top, which I know is a little unusual. Most people either start in the very middle of the design or in the top, either the center or the left, and work from left to right. What can I say? I always like to do things a little bit differently. I'm sure there are lots of other people who like to start in the bottom left. It's not just me. Anyways, I am very behind in answering comments on the YouTube comments that people have been leaving me. I have read them all, and I've mentioned this before. I do read them all, but I have not had any time this week to leave comments, and I just want you to know how much I appreciate that you take the time to leave me those comments. And if I haven't answered or I don't get to it, please know that it's not because I don't appreciate it. It's just that my time is full. And I think I've said that before as well. And in order for me to get everything done that I need to do, sometimes I have to prioritize. And to me, if I can tell you all now how much I appreciate it, instead of just hitting the love button, you know that I've read your comments, and I have to go back in because I know there were some questions that I need to answer. A few people have asked about the Silks for You that I purchased, that I showed on Monday's video. I got so excited when I was showing that silk that I did not give the color numbers for the second 2 hanks that I showed. I gave the number for the first one, the lighter blue, but then I neglected to give the numbers for the other 2. And I have that information downstairs. I start to pile things together for Monday's floss tube update so that I will remember everything that I need to talk about. And I've left the paper with the codes information for those silks downstairs. So on Monday's video, I will give those codes if I don't get around to answering, typing in the answers to the people who ask those questions before Monday's update. That's better. I have no idea why I did not clue in, even for a moment, that something was wrong. Yikes. So I was watching Ginger Gerald's update earlier today while I was doing some sewing, and if you haven't watched it yet, he was talking about Geo, the squirrel that he feeds, who's on his deck, and he feeds Geo, peanuts every day. And he was talking about how he's been having discussions with Nicole, Buckeye Stitcher, who told him that peanuts were basically junk food for squirrels. And then she sent him in the mail a bag of specialty food, specialty nuts, specifically for squirrels. And I thought that was just so both funny and sweet at the same time, because it was just a really thoughtful thing to do. So I look forward to hearing about whether or not Geo enjoyed his treat. So I've been hearing so much about the snow that everybody in the States has been getting. The eastern states have been getting a lot of snow. And frankly, I think that you're getting our snow because we have none. And when I hear, schools are closing and everybody's getting lots and lots of snow, well, I look outside and I feel slightly miffed that we aren't getting that snow, because I think you're getting our snow. We have none. And it's a bit, I'd like at least 1 or 2 more really good snowstorms. Now that I've said that, I'm sure there are other Canadians who are watching this saying, no, you don't, because please don't wish that on us. So I am sorry. I'll apologize in advance, but I really would like a little bit more snow. Yes, please. Before we're totally done for the season. My swallows don't come back until the middle of May. So at some point, we can get snowstorms at the beginning of May. It's not unheard of. And of course, don't have enough floss here to fill in those 2 stitches that are missing. Of course, I've just eked it out as much as I can. So I'll have to sew that end in. Oops. There we go. So I told you all last week that I was recording at the rental house where we were staying, and how I was speaking in a slightly quieter voice because of where we were. And I didn't want the owners of the house, if they heard me, I didn't want them to think I was crazy. So I thought that was quite funny. Anyways, my mom listened and left me a comment, and she wanted to know if I want strawberry rhubarb pie for my birthday dessert. And I said, in my head, I answered her. I talked to her on the phone yesterday, and I forgot to tell her that, yes, please, I really, really, really would like a strawberry rhubarb pie for my birthday, Mom. That would be amazing, because I can't remember the last time. I had it. I think I was a kid. Maybe early teens. Maybe. I don't remember. But, you know, I have fond memories of always, my parents always made an effort to, you know, we usually got to pick what we wanted for our birthday dinner, and mine was always steak. That my dad cooks the most amazing steaks on the barbecue. Steak and corn on the cob. And that's pretty perfect birthday dinner. My birthday's in July, and so the corn is usually just coming out. And so if we could add strawberry rhubarb pie to that, I think that would be pretty good. All right, now I can add in the section that I stitched before. Now I'm ready to do that part. Oh my goodness. There we go. Perfect. Michelle Bendy Stitchy just had a giveaway. 3,000 subscribers. Congratulations, Bendy Stitchy. She is so fun to listen to. So one of her winners is going to be choosing an Tote bag. I'll be making that most likely in the next couple of days once I've spoken to the winner and get that popped in the mail. Speaking of Tote, there will be some new bags popping up in the shop over the next week. And moving forward, I put them in as they are made. And as you know, Tote is a small part-time business for both my sister-in-law and I. So if you notice that for a while there are no new bags in the shop, it's because we can't keep up with everything, and we have to do our other jobs as well. So I put the bags in as fast as I can when we make them, but they do tend to sell, you know, sell a lot more quickly than others. So if you are interested in a bag and you've been looking at the shop, but you don't like any of the bags that are in there because, well, you know, that tends to happen. People have different taste. If you would like to know when I put new bags in, I do post usually on Instagram when I put bags in. I also will post bags in and not say anything at all, so that they don't immediately sell out in case there are other people who would like a chance for a bag. So you never know when I'm going to sneak bags into the shop. But following Totes on Instagram is usually a good way to find out. So that's a little heads up that there may be some new bags in there this weekend. I have some knitting bags in there this weekend that are, I tell you, these little inside information here. They're called on-the-go bags, on-the-go totes. And really, it's one of my favorite styles of bag. It's a one handle. So the handle is sideways, the strap is sideways, and it goes over your arm, and the bag is open at the top. And it's a perfect knitting bag for around the house, because you can keep your knitting in it, you know, a pair of socks, or a small project like a hat. Hint, hint. We're doing hats now. We are learning how to make hats. So if you're interested in joining us, would love to have you. Gerald is learning how to knit a hat. Apparently he's starting this weekend, so I'm really looking forward to his update video. But these on-the-go totes, they are terrible to photograph. I mean, really terrible to photograph. I take the pictures of them and I think, you know, these are never going to sell because they look awful. They really do. But in reality, they're really nice bags. But because they're completely flat, like completely flat, they're impossible to show properly. Whereas, even the cross-stitch totes, which are flat, they have the batting in them, so they're a little bit more attractive, when they're sitting flat on a table. They actually look quite nice. But these on-the-go totes, I don't know what it is. If the lighting is a little bit off, I try to use natural lighting when I can, but sometimes the colors are off. And it's just, I have struggled trying to post photographs of these bags to make them look, the way that they look in reality. And it's practically impossible. You guys, honestly, I am, where is my brain today? Where is my brain today? What did I just do? I can't even. This is why I can't do this pattern and do a stitch with me video anymore. Because that's not right. That's totally wrong. But you know what? This time I'm not going to turn the camera off. I'm just going to frog, because I know that you all out there feel my pain. And a stitch with me video, this is a stitch with me video, warts and all. And oh my goodness, what is wrong with me? So now, I've told you all of these terrible things about these bags that I make. Lovely, lovely bags that look terrible in their pictures. Honesty, guys. I'll never lie to you. Oh, Lordy. All right. Let's see. Sometimes I go cross country and for a couple of stitches, and if I don't remember that I've done it, when I'm trying to frog, that can be a little frustrating. This little triangle has given me more trouble than it's worth. Oh, shoot. Anyways. I think that I am going to quit while I'm ahead. I'm going to get this to the point where it needs to be for me to restart this motif, and I am going to leave you there. I'm going to edit this video quickly and put it up. And I hope that even though my stitching was discombobulated today, I hope that it gives you, for newer stitchers, if you're a new cross stitcher and you're watching this, I really hope that this gives you a feeling of satisfaction and pride, knowing that you're probably at this moment doing a way better job than me. And not only that, but that this happens to everyone. Doesn't matter how long you've been stitching for. We all have to frog. Okay, so I'm going to pull that out. Now I am ready. Let's put in the first 4 stitches of where they're actually supposed to be, shall we? And then I can leave you and you will feel like I actually know what I'm doing again. I will be working on this project all weekend. And I can't wait to see it come to life. I love it. And Barbara, once again, thank you so much for sending this floss, because knowing that I have enough to do the entire design is amazing. So thank you. All right, guys, that's it for me today. I think I need to quit now while I'm still ahead. I haven't made any mistakes in the last 7 stitches. Life is good. I'll see you on the Facebook group. I'll see you on Instagram. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Enjoy. Happy stitching.